Alright everybody, welcome to the first game between Gust or Bust and Cloud9. We're currently looking at the first match in the best of 3 series here on Cursed Hollow, our first map. And we have to the left side Gust or Bust with Equinox on Tyrande, Talking Trees on Liming, Frozen Eggs on Greymane, Dark Chimera on Uther, and Illusion on ETC. To the right side of the map, it is Cloud9 with Caffeine on Muradin, Dunk Train on Rhaegar, iDream on Thrall, K1 Pro on Sonya, and Arthlon is playing Brightwing. So the boys are back from Korea. They played, of course, at the Global Championship, and, well, they did pretty well. Overall, I have to say, of course, that the West was not really all too successful against the Chinese and Korean teams, but Cloud9 as well as Dignitas, they went pretty far in the tournament, at least for Western standards. So, of course, we hope that in the future this is going to change a little bit. But right now they are going to try and qualify for the next NA Regional Final, which is going to be the important part. And one of the teams that they have to take down is Gust or Bust in this case. I have to admit that it was actually like a blast meeting Cloud9 in person. Like, these guys are super fun, especially when we're talking about Dunk Train, who should actually, after the after party, rename himself into the Drunk Train. And Caffeine, who kind of tried to... assist his healer a little bit during the evening, which was quite interesting. Especially since Caffeine somehow has a very short memory. I saw him running away at some point, desperately trying to find Dunk Train to help him out there. And then when I found him, he was talking to a few people, and I asked him, did you find him? And he was like, find who? And when I said Dunk Train, suddenly you could see his jaw drop, and he's like, oh my god, I totally forgot all about it, and off he went again. But yeah, long story short, these guys are pretty amazing, but in this case, they actually lose the first hero. They lose Thrall. So Thrall is down, and up to the top lane, we are seeing Gust or Bust trying to aim for a second kill here. In this case now, we are in the newest patch. And, well, we had a couple of changes once again. Blizzard is currently really trying to get especially new heroic abilities into the game, or at least like the secondary heroic abilities, and buffing them a little bit and making sure that those have a bit more of an impact. We actually saw already Johanna's with Falling Sword dishing out incredible damage, and that's something that's probably going to be a bit of a theme in the near future, as we have also a double support setup right now for Gust or Bust. This is something that we could see in this game as well, as Dunk Train is in a bit of trouble, but being helped out here by Arthlon. So both of these teams currently with a double support, but in the case of Gust or Bust, we are seeing them with a Tyrande, and that could mean that we are going to see Starfall, which was actually heavily increased in damage and is now much more useful than it was before. Liming at the bot lane taken out, so a bit of early game ganks here from both sides here. We have 1 kill on each. And for now, looking at the talents here, just give us a bit of an idea of what's going on there. Another popular talent that we've seen already in other regions as well is Wolf Run on level 1, which increases the movement speed of the Ghost Wolf from 30% to 40%. That basically means that at this point, Rhaegar has the same speed than any other mounted hero. And of course, that's pretty incredible, since you can just zip around the map without any delay. You don't have any mount up time there. So that's a pretty cool and handy advantage that you have. Give up the Colossal Totem then on the other hand, of course, but if you are just trying to be as mobile as possible and fast on the map, then that's of course exactly what you're looking for. Tribute number 1 in this case could actually end up in the hands of Gust or Bust, but no, not quite. K1 Pro moves in, one of the best ranged assassin in the game for sure, especially on the North American server. In this game now we are seeing him on Sonya though. No real range assassin on their side. It's a huge melee setup that they're running here, with two bruiser type heroes at the front, with Thrall and Sonya, and 2 supports in the back. So it's going to be a little bit tricky for them. They have to really commit 2 fights if they want to go in for it, but it also makes it a little bit more dangerous for Frozen X on his Greymane to jump in, because he's definitely going to be attacked very soon. Caffeine jumps out here with his Muradin just before he falls, but Cloud9 isn't done yet. They're trying to go in for a kill against Dark Chimera, but they have to move away here. Caffeine still very low, trying to activate his trade, but gets actually stunned, and that's the chance for Frozen X to jump in and take him down. Caffeine using the bush to his advantage to deny the opponent vision, so that Greymane cannot jump in again. Waiting for the cooldown to hop out here with a Dwarf Toss, but it might result. Yeah, he goes down. They were trying to go for a kill on Greymane, but it didn't really work out that way. Good attempt though by Caffeine, was trying to hide here and waiting for his cooldown. I really liked how he started to use that bush to make sure that Greymane doesn't have vision to jump in immediately. In the end, he ends up dying regardless though, and now we have both of the teams still on level 6 and with the level 4 talents. And that means that in the case of Brightwing, we have now the Arcane Barrage taken on level 4, so an increased range on the Arcane Flare, which is actually not really a talent that you see all too often, but of course with the added damage to Brightwing's Arcane Flare that we've seen a few patches ago, this is one of the things that you can really capitalize upon, especially if you're trying to interrupt some tribute channels, as we've already seen before. Set tribute channels are also one of the reasons why we are seeing the full Owl build on the side of Tyrande. Not only the Empower for the cooldown reduction, but also Pierce taken as a level 4 talent. Great, of course, if you want to interrupt the channel, and we should see an Owl flying pretty soon. But here's Uther first of all with a first deny on the tribute. Nice attack against ETC, and he goes down. Cloud9 with kill number 2 in the game for them. Liming still with a bit of poke there, but the level 7 talent on the side of Cloud9 forces Gust or Bust back in this first game of the best of 3 series. With the talents that we are seeing right now, we have a cleanse on the side of Rhaegar. Here comes the attempt to go for Frozen Eggs, but Greymane with good moves makes sure that he doesn't die against K1 Pro and Caffeine up at the top. By now we're also seeing the Lunar Blaze, and with the level 7 talent, the Cocktail build on the side of Greymane, it's also being advanced. In addition to that, Seeker after the Charge Blast. So Li Ming going for a lot of poke here, especially when it comes down to the magic missiles. That's one of the main things that she's going to try and do here. We're still seeing the Just keep rocking on the side of ETC, so he's going to focus a little bit on his guitar solo here. But at the top lane, again a 3-man attack against Thrall, and I Dream is down. K1 Pro trying to escape here. No Mystical Spear for him yet, but he's able to well win the way. No more stuns on the side of Gust or Bust, but Caffeine comes in to try and help out a little bit. Needs to be careful though. Has still his jump, but the stun lock is strong, and Caffeine barely getting away from this one. The cooldown for Greymane not ready yet, so Frozen X has to wait. Was jumping on Sonya for a moment, but in this case not really able to get the kill. Very aggressive game. Early on already in the series, we are seeing both teams aiming for the kills. 3 kills against 2, 5 minutes, 6 minutes into the game. And both of the teams already with a tribute. But in this case, it's the second one that we are still having for Cloud9. So they can curse the opponent pretty soon. Arthalon staying in the back, using the extreme range on his barrage right now. Tries to jump in again for the shield. With level 7, we're having him, of course, on the hyper shield here, the face shield. And they're jumping in for a kill against Uther. Good job by Cloud9, collapsing with all 5 heroes onto the support of the opponent's team. And the experience lead that we're currently seeing for Cloud9 is actually already pretty significant. They're starting to move into level 10, and the heroic ability is going to help them a lot here, of course. Battle momentum has been taken on the side of Mirrodin, and that is, of course, going to help him to get his cooldowns back a little bit faster. And we have seen in the past already Haymaker being used, especially by Caffeine and other heroes as well, so other players on the hero. So we could actually see that, considering that they have Sonya plus a Thrall with it too. Caffeine does not necessarily need his avatar in this particular setup that they're running here, so he has a couple of options. It would still be, of course, a strong talent to take, but it's definitely one of those scenarios where you can go for either one. Already, Rhaegar not heading into the next talent either. I mean, with a double support, you could think about going Bloodlust, but if you really want to focus on Thrall and Sonya at the front line, then the Ancestral Healing is still a pretty strong pick. For now, Caffeine is still trying to delay that a little bit, but you can actually see that most of the heroes are not really with the team yet. Brightwing can jump in, and this should result in a curse. They have the level 10 ability, and that's going to give them a huge lead. Dunk Train secures it, and that is the curse against Gust or Bust. Avatar still chosen on Mirrodin. No playmaker for us in this game, and Rhaegar has still not made his choice. But we have level 10s now on both sides. And Starfall, as already predicted a little bit earlier, is now the choice for Tyrande. So no Shadow Stalk for her. Starfall with incredible damage right now. And we see Bloodlust. We actually see Bloodlust. Dung Train is going for it. So that's going to make for some really fun fights here. The movement speed and the attack speed advantage. There it is already. K1 Pro uses it to move away, and they're turning on Uther. Divine Shield keeps him alive for a moment, but Dark Chimera has to be careful also as Caffeine is starting to move in. The kill against Rhaegar happens first though, and what a mosh pit by Gust or Bust. That's the problem if you run such a melee heavy setup, that if ETC gets his mosh pit through, there's a good chance that he catches nearly all of them. It's like Pokemon. For now we have the double kill, the triple kill, the quad kill, and nearly the team wipe, but Caffeine is able to get away from this one. Killusion on his ETC, he's definitely going to play his private Pokemon game here. You gotta catch them all, and he caught 4 of them in that last mosh pit, so that was a really smart move. And of course, especially when you're also accounting for the Starfall, you have a lot of damage potential here, and that slow, of course, helps as well. Besides that, Disintegrate has been chosen for Li Ming, not really a big surprise on that part. We have still a lead in experience for Cloud9, so the boys are doing well here. Dunk Train at the top is already trying to solo the boss here. Rhaegar is pretty good when it comes to taking camp solo, especially if you go for Lightning Bond on level 1, which he, by the way, didn't do here. But he's not that good. Not going to be able to take that boss solo, at least not in any time that would be noteworthy. The Earth Shield also taken in this case now over the potential healing cooldown reduction with the tidal waves. So for now we're having also a little bit of additional sustain for Thrall, who decided to go into the spell shield. Boss is taken on both sides. Both teams take their own boss, so not the opponents. And in this case also, of course, once again, Brightwing just poking a little bit. One of the advantages of running Brightwing is really that you always have her on the offlane and you can try to get a bit of additional experience. And that's currently working quite well for Cloud9. When it comes to the kill count, on the other hand, thanks to the last team fight, we're seeing Gust now with 7 to 4 kills. So they definitely have a bit of an advantage. And they are finally now also on the same talent. So that helps them, especially with the glass cannon on Li Ming. They should be in a position where they can keep her safe, and then she's going to be able to dish enormous damage out. Uther with the Shrink Ray has a couple of really nice targets. Thrall, Sonya, they would all really be good targets to use that Shrink Ray. Depends a little bit, of course, on the situation in the game. And ETC goes into the showstopper, and that's a brilliant talent to take, because he is going to be one of those guys that will always be surrounded by at least 2 or 3 of the frontliners of the opponent. So there's going to be a lot of damage against him, and showstopper in particular is going to help him quite a bit once that he decides to slide in. At the same time, with the Unfettered Assault for Greymane, we're also not really seeing any big surprises over there. But it's going to be an interesting part of how Cloud9 is going to play this at this point. One of the things that I definitely want to highlight here as well, guys, is that this game, or like the entire series, the tournament, took actually place shortly after the patch was introduced. So especially for teams like Cloud9 and also Naventic, this was a bit of a tricky situation to adapt to. Not only because they had already to adapt to a patch being when they came back from Korea, but also the second one coming in made it so they couldn't really practice too much. Thrall being killed as another tribute is being channeled through at the top. Gust, they get it, and now Cloud9 finds themselves in a bit of trouble and have to try to get away from this one. So they're already on the run here. Caffeine needs to be super careful. He's always shielding or trying to shield the rest of his guys, but right now we are seeing that Gust is actually starting to really come back into this. They are not only attempting, or they're not only getting the lead in kills, but they're also really closing that gap in experience. And once that's successful, they can really start to make a bit of headway here, especially since with the 5 versus 4 situation on the map, they simply decide to go for the bottom 4 here. So the rotation on their end is actually quite strong. They have seen that there is not really too much to do on the map. There's no camps that they could take. The rotation to the bot lane was one of the few things available to them, and with them taking down that fort, it opens the bottom lane a little bit more to go straight for keep if they get another boss at the bot lane. And it also closes the gap in experience even more, and their whole reasoning for that is, of course, to try and hit level 16 at roughly the same time that Cloud9 does that too. So the 5-man roam on the map makes a lot of sense for them. Deep pushing mid lane is the next objective, and it's really all just about waiting for the next objective, the next tribute, trying to hit level 16 roughly around that time. The vision, on the other hand, goes to Cloud9 right now. With them claiming the watchtower at the top and at the bottom, they have now a decent vision on the map, and they know exactly what's happening here. Level 16 also hitting a bit faster for them, and that really helps. Brightwing went already into the shield test, and now the bouncy does. Standard talents for Brightwing to go for in 13 and 16, unless of course you need the greater polymorph against a hero like Illidan. But with the level 16 talent not really available to them yet, they are going to let this one go. Gust is not going to go for it. They're trying to delay it slightly, but that's all that they're going to do here. Talking Tree is being attacked, eats that Stormbolt, says like, yeah, well, I don't care. Has the teleport still available. There's nobody really to follow it up. So another fort already being attacked too. But now level 16 is in play, and that's when Gust can start to make a bit of a play. Imposing presence, not really a big surprise for ETC. We already talked about his exposure, him being exposed a lot at the front line, and him going into the showstopper, getting all of these talents, also level 7 to just keep rocking, and now going into imposing presence just caters a little bit more to that tanky ETC version who knows that he is, as a solo frontliner, always going to be in a bit of danger. Keep in mind, though, that they have Greymane to his side, but with a double support in the back, that's what he's mostly going to rely upon. With a Mosh Pit and a Divine Shield, they can definitely try and trap the entire front line of Cloud9 again, and that already led to a very successful team fights in the mid-game. Now we're heading really into that stage of the game where both of the teams are going to aim for that curse, for that boss. And bosses are going to spawn again any second right now. There's like a minute for the boss up at the top, roughly 50 seconds for the boss at the bot lane, and once those two are up, you are going to try to at least secure one of them. Talking about securing things, securing a curse right now would be absolutely amazing. And, well, this is one of those scenarios where, especially when we're looking at Cloud9, they have to be very careful how they approach the fight. First of all, the timing on Bloodlust is going to be incredibly important to not allow the opponent to disengage. And if you cluster with that front line just once, ETC is going to have a field day. If you lose Muradin like that, that's even worse. and that was horrible. No avatar, no stone form. That's a huge problem. They're still willing to fight here. They don't retreat, actually. They start to retreat now, but it might be too late. They lose Thrall, and they are also losing Sonya. Gust or Bust are really busting through Cloud9 at this point, and with the bot lane Ford already eliminated and the curse now hitting hard, we are seeing them move straight for the keep. Great play by them, and they go through the wall, actually. They move straight in, and they just simply say, alright guys, we are going to take that immediately. We're going to claim that keep, and they might go for core, and they actually do. They have to kill the keep first, and yeah, we see them turn around and do exactly that. Now that's a pretty annoying situation for Cloud9 right now. They're trying to go for the defense here with 2 heroes. Only the supports are still alive though, and that's a problem. Caffeine comes back. Not quite sure if he's going to be able to turn the tides of this battle. Frozen X is still dishing out the damage, and it looks like game number 1 ends in favor of Team Gust or Bust here at the qualifier for the NA Regional. Job well done, and they take the lead against Cloud9 here on Cursed Hollow. Back to game number 2, everybody. We are here in the best of 3 series at the NA Regional Qualifier between Cloud9 and Gust or Bust. And Gust or Bust is currently in the lead. They won the first game on Cursed Hollow, and now we're on Sky Temple, where Caffeine and his boys are starting to the left. Cloud9 with Caffeine on Muradin. We're seeing K1 Pro on Vala, Arthalon on Liming, Dunk Train on Tacita as the only support in the lineup, and I Dream on Zeratul. So they're trying to win it now with the power of Protoss. Well, in StarCraft 2 regions, we already have known for a long time that Protoss is Imba, and now in Heroes of the Storm, that knowledge is being put to some use as well. To the right side of the map, Gust or Bust with Frozen X on Sylvanas, Equinox on Illidan, we have Collusion on Tyrael, Talking Trees on Falstad, and Uther is played by Dark Chimera, as we have a bit of a fight going on over the vision on the Watchtower. And guys, once again, quick note here, we actually do not have the drafts in this particular series. I did not cast all of this live, but I got the replays sent over. Thanks to Caffeine and Cloud9, by the way. They sent me a whole bunch of games that were played during the qualifier, and which is pretty cool for us, so we can at least like have a look at the games themselves. But the drafts, unfortunately, are for this particular VOD missing. The cool thing in this setup is now that we also have a bit of a different build here. We've seen, of course, after the recent patch also a few of the games on the European server, which was quite interesting to see how the builds changed and how a few more heroes are now suddenly in the meta again. Illidan, for example, is back to business, and he's back with a vengeance. In this case, we're seeing him with Battered Assault as the level 1 talent, which is still very common. I mean, you either go for Battered Assault or you go for Immolation on the hero, and both of them are actually very strong. Depends a little bit on what exactly you're trying to achieve. Immolation is maybe a little bit better for the wave clear in particular, and also if you're trying, for example, against Zagara to like take down creep tumors and such things. But Battered Assault, a very strong talent as well. So both of them pretty situational in the sense that it's more of a personal decision what you really want to go for. That being said, we have also the Mercenary Queen chosen for Sylvanas, which is a little bit different from what we've seen from Sylvanas players on the European server, where the Q focus is very strong. But right now, we're going to see how the Mercenary Queen is going to come through here. It is an interesting map for the talent. Oh, Equinox! Wow, Illidan taken down, and Frozen X also slain here. Well done by Cloud9. An early double kill in the game gives them now a slight lead. This is, of course, one of those maps where Mercenary Queen might be a bit surprising, since we have in this case actually only 2 of the Siege Giant camps at the bot lane, and we have, of course, 2 camps for Bruisers up at the top. So not really the most camp-heavy map, but if you actually start to push a lane while the rest of your team or while the rest of the opponent's team is trying to aim for a temple, then you can get a lot of value out of it if you have that level 1 talent. So it's really a playstyle choice of what you want to do. Equinox already going full out here with his Illidan, trying to jump deep in right away. And when it comes to the rest of the heroes and their talents, we're seeing, of course, the Vorpal Blades on the side of Zeratul. The mobility that you get with the talent is absolutely out of this world. Regeneration Master as the level 1 talent has still been chosen here for him, and I Dream is going to try to use that to especially keep close tabs on Falstad and jump after him. Both of the teams with level 4 talents, but you can really tell how Cloud9 is able to just translate that early lead with a double kill into a very, very good structural lead in the game now. They have put a lot of damage onto the top lane already, with 2 of the towers being eliminated and also the fort on half health. They get the kill against Li Ming as well now. Well, Cloud9 actually lost Li Ming, sorry, my bad. But they're getting a lot of kills against structures, and with them now getting the final few shots on the temple in the mid lane as well. They're taking both of the towers down in the middle. They put some pressure over here as too, and this is a very cool scenario now once again for Cloud9. The loss on Li Ming here, not really the worst. I mean, Talking Trees that the bot lane was able to secure that kill for his team. We're seeing at this point now also on level 4 friend or foe, which is basically the standard talent to take for Illidan players on level 4 these days. The Withering Barrage also incredibly popular on the side of Sylvanas. And Sylvanas might be labeled as a specialist in the game itself, but she's one of the best damage dealers that you can wish for in your team. Her damage output against single targets is pretty gigantic, and also of course a wave clear is a very, very strong. Calamity on Li Ming taken, Triumph Ray by the way, the level 4 talent here, so trying to hit a bit more damage with those orbs, Arthalon that is. And with the Calamity you have good wave clear, you get good damage out also in all of those fights, and if you get a couple of resets then you can really, really wreck your opponent. Caffeine on his Mirrodin, once again his preferred hero, is going straight into the battle momentum, whereas Vala decided to go into the hybrid build. And after multi-shot, that of course means that you go straight into Manticore and into the Searing attacks. And talking about like attack damage, we have on level 4, oh sorry, on level 7, now also for Zeratul follow through as the additional damage talent, so his auto attacks are going to become very strong if he starts to use those basic abilities. But besides that, we're seeing for Illidan now, Reflexive Block, like these two talents are pretty much safe. Friend of Phone, Reflexive Block are these days the absolute standard talents on Illidan. Level 1, as I said, you go either for Battle Assault or you go into Immolation. And there's a couple of choices that you have to make then later on in the game as well. But still a few of the talents pretty much standard for the hero here. For Barbed Shot on level 7 is most what you are going to see in most of the games on Sylvanas, and super powerful talent too. Not necessarily on this map now in particular, but especially when we're talking about Battlefield of Eternity, when we're talking for example about also Infernal Shrines, this is really a talent that gives you a lot of value. One of the interesting choices that we're seeing in the game now is also the level 7 talent on Uther. Instead of going into a Cleanse, he went into Clairvoyance. And that's of course dedicated to make sure that Zeratul is having a bit of a rougher time during all of these fights. And with only Mirrodin around for stuns, and potentially Vala then later on with the Rain of Vengeance, no Cleanse for Dark Chimera this time. It's definitely an interesting choice, but it makes a whole lot of sense if you want to put pressure on Zeratul, and that's what they're doing already. iDream has to jump out of this one. But we have level 9 and a little bit on the board for Team Cloud9, and they're going to try to hit that level 10 talent a bit faster than their opponents. But the temple is being fought over on even talent still, and they're trying to go for it. Already the Stormbolt against Illusion, and Tyrael is down, zoning the opponent here, doing a decent job. It's still no level 10 talents on the board, but with it being so close for Cloud9, Gust makes the only right choice here. They move away, and that allows, of course, for a bit of pressure here on the side of Cloud9. They are one game behind already, and I mean, they are really trying to make sure that they are not falling to Gust or Bust here. They want to qualify for the first regional final in North America, and they are still a couple of games away from that. Mirrodin going straight into the Avatar again. Disintegrate already chosen on the side of Li Ming. We have Zeratul, of course, with his Void Prison. And I would still expect that on the side of Vala, we're going to see the Rain of Vengeance, but depending on the setup, we could actually still see Strafe taken. Oh, Zeratul is down. Gust or Bust playing a really aggressive style. Jumping in again with Illidan as Metamorphosis. Strafe on Vala, not really too keen to stay close to him. Oh, and the mind control against K1 Pro. He's able to escape for a moment. Equinox on Illidan is trying to jump in, but not able to do anything here. Had to move out once more. So after the initial kill against Zeratul, no more deaths on the side of Cloud9. Gust or Bust, they really try, but they weren't able to make it happen here. This is a really cool talent. Seeing mind control being used in a competitive setup is always pretty awesome, and if you are trying to get some heroes in the backline or that are a bit out of position, then mind control is absolutely fantastic. Withering sorry, not Withering Fire, but the Wailing Arrow is of course another great tool, but if you get a good mind control off against one of those backliners, that can really save you a team fight and give you an early kill. In this case, it didn't really work out the way that they intended. Also, we have Mighty Gust taken again. Keep in mind that the cooldown is now 60 seconds, so it's not that those 40 any longer. And Talking Trees has no chance against iDream here. Not with Warble Blades. I mean, Warble Blades and Blink, as we said, this is just so much mobility that you have on the hero that there's absolutely no way to rush away if you are false dead. Sanctification has chosen. We have also Metamorphosis. We are seeing Strafe. And I mean, the choice between Strafe and Rain of Vengeance is basically a playstyle option if you want to stay farther away from the opponent's backline and just like try to zone a little bit and go in for the killing shot. Strafe is very strong here. If you are able to just like move in with an ETC, for example, that has a mosh pit available, then you can always go, or with a Maw even, you can always go into something like the Rain of Vengeance. Could always try to use it also with the Void Prison. But of course, in this case, what K1 Pro really wants to do is stay safe. And as I said before, personally, I believe that K1 Pro is one of the best melee assassins that we have in the Western scene. Like, he is, one of the best ranged assassins that we have in the Western scene. This guy is insane. The damage output that he's always able to dish out is out of this world, and he stays extremely safe while doing that. So if you look at his games, you will see that he has oftentimes a very low kill count. Arthalon, on the other hand, gets mind-controlled here and taken down. So nice job on Sylvanas here in cooldown now, but it's a 5 versus 4 situation. Still Cloud9 on the earlier level 13 with a frost shot. Oh, sorry, my apologies. With a frost shot now being used on Vala. Dirty hiccups at the wrong moment. We're seeing at the same time now also Wormhole being chosen. We have again with the focus on the Thunderclap. Muradin going straight into the Thunder Strike here for the extra damage against single targets. And he's already claiming the bottom temple for his team, whereas everybody else is currently still in the middle. Illusionist has now been taken on Li Ming after the Calamity on level 7. But strong talents for the team overall. The one thing that you really have to keep in mind here is that when we're talking about the setup that Cloud9 is running, that they have still that Tacita as a solo support. And it's one of those things that you don't see as often anymore as in the past, but it's still viable in certain situations, and this is definitely one of them, since there's very little AoE damage also on the side of the opponent, that Illidan is going to make his life quite difficult, and now that we have level 13, we're seeing the Nimble Defender already taken. So this is another great talent to take. It's actually like really interesting. We're having, especially on level 1 and on level 13, two talents that you can always choose from. On level 1 it's the Battle Assault and Immolation, and if you look at the level 13 talent, then Nimble Defender is usually chosen, or it is, on the other hand, then of course his Sixth Sense Evasion talent, which is also incredibly powerful. So it's a little bit of a question of which cooldown you trust more. If you look at the Evasion talent, of course, the 75% damage reduction are pretty insane, but at the same time the cooldown is much higher, whereas with the Sweeping Strides and all of that, you can get a few more out of those in the fights themselves. And already Illidan jumping in deep, trying to just like get this cooldown reduction with the auto attacks. And there's very little that can actually prevent him from doing that. There's only the stun on Muradin. Oh, but Zeratul is down. Uses the Void Prison first. K1 Pro is here with the damage and Disintegrate too. Illidan is trying to jump in now to take them down. But good poke damage again, and a great Stormbolt by King Caffeine, which forces the Mighty Gust from Talking Trees, false that pushing that away. But look at Frozen X. He was down to 150 hit points. Dark Chimera, on the other hand, taken out. K1 Pro once again on the hunt. And when this bad boy is going hunting, then you know that blood is going to be drawn. So right now, 1 kill versus a kill. We have still a level lead, by the way, for Cloud9. So despite all of what's happening here, despite like the kills being pretty even, Cloud9 was able to get a much better position in experience, and that is mainly because they pushed those lanes much more efficiently than their opponents. We have not a single fort remaining for Gust or Bust, whereas Cloud9 still holds the fort at the top lane and holds the fort at the bot lane as well, and the entire wall. Well, minus 1 tower. But overall, a very cool position here for Cloud9 to be in. The structural advantage on a map like Sky Temple is incredibly important, and this is really something where they have a huge lead and will now, with the next Temple phase, directly pressure the keeps of the opponent, which is incredibly difficult to deal with. Sylvanas going straight into the Spell Shield already shows pretty much how much they respect all of that ability damage that we're seeing of the Cloud9. We have level 16 talents now taken for Cloud9, and that's of course a huge problem for Gust or Bust. I mean, just think about it. They already lost all of their forts And now the keeps are being attacked, but they are talent down as the temples spawn. So they have to fight. They have to do something. They cannot both of them just simply give them up. They know that Zeratul is at the bot lane, and with that knowledge, they move in as 5 because they're saying, guys, maybe we can force a kill here in a 5 versus 4 situation, even with us lacking the level 16 talent. But as Zeratul is starting to move in, they need to retreat here, and they were not able to make too much happen. At the top lane now, we're seeing also another Bruiser camp moving in, and they have to, of course, defend against that first. Firefly is now taken as the level 16 talent. We're seeing the Rending Cleave, Dimensional Warp, Executioner even now on the side of K1 Pro, and that's going to increase his damage output even more. But there's finally the level 16 talent ready for the fight up at the top temple, where we have Sylvanas now also with Remorseless. That has been taken. Mind Control against Tassadar, but he escapes. Go! That was a close one. Job well done, Joe. Caffeine in trouble, and he jumps out, gets a shield from Tassadar. Sanctification is on the ground, and here comes that Void Prison against 4 heroes, but no one to really capitalize on that yet. Nice Mighty Gust here too, making sure that Gust or Boss is not losing any more heroes. A pretty sick setup that we are having overall though, and once again the fight is starting because both want those last shots on the temple, but we're seeing Frozen X incredibly low, and that strafe did a whole lot of damage as iDream is jumping in for the kill against Tyrael. Caffeine is jumping in too, he wants Uther and he gets it together with Arthalon. They take him down, double kill for Cloud9, 7 kills against 4. And there's still a boss on the map, plus also, of course, shots at the temple to the top. So that's something to consider here now too. We have Vala already on 39,000 damage. And once again, I have to highlight it. Look at the kills or the deaths on Vala. 0 deaths and 40,000 damage. We're having on the side of their opponent, on Gust or Bust, Sylvanas with the most damage against heroes. But the problem is that she's only at 22k. So nowhere near what Vala is able to dish out. With the knowledge that boss is going to be taken, we're seeing Gust or Bust move to the top lane to at least secure a few of the shots of the temple itself. But Talking Trees will have to move away from this one, and iDream is already trying to find an opening to take him down here. But the boss is, of course, starting to push the bot lane. The next few shots are going to be fired thanks to the temple at the top now as well. And with the boss being attacked down here, Barbed Shot taken on level 7, at least Sylvanas is going to be able to get a lot of damage in to make sure that that boss is not going to do too much. Not going to move through the keep, but still, every single hit that he secures against it is going to make it easier for Cloud9 to move in later on and drop those structures. And right now, we're having still a 2-level lead for Cloud9. And of course, they need that too. I mean, at this point, they are definitely way in the game, and the problem for them is they have to win 2 in a row if they really want to advance here. If you're looking at the situation, though, we have still even talents, and that's one of those huge advantages that for now the Gust or Bust actually has. They have an opportunity where they can really try to take the opponent down, and Caffeine and his boys have to be careful here. K1 Pro is being followed by Illidan already, but Equinox is incredibly low, gets slowed by the Frost Shot, tries to jump out, and needs to move Metamorphosis to go in. Goes for Arthalon, tries to go for K1 Pro, Dunk Train is low. Here comes that Void Prison, that's a good one. K1 Pro with a shield, and the strafe, the kill against Uther, the kill against Illidan, and it's not gonna stop there. Falset is dead. Frozen X tries to escape, but iDream is already on it and takes him down as well. The only one riding away to the sunset is actually, yeah, in this case, Tyrael. Tyrael not able to do too much. Wants to go still for a kill against the 4th here. The problem is that we have at the bot lane already a huge commitment by Cloud9. We're saying, boys, 4 heroes dead. You know what? We can actually end this. Let's just make sure that we go into game number 3 and end it right here. Illusion is the only one who's still there. He doesn't have his ult anymore, and this is just gonna be the tie of the series. I mean, we are going to see a 3rd map between these 2 teams. Cloud9 with a very, very nice performance here on the 2nd map. Map number 1, Cursed Hollow, was a great performance from Gust or Bust, but on Sky Temple, Cloud9 just a bit too strong. 11 kills against 4, and the victory on the 2nd map. Game number 3, everybody. The deciding map between Cloud9 and Gust or Bust. To the left side of the map, Battlefield of Eternity, we have Gust or Bust with Equinox on Sonya, Collusion on Tyrael, Frozen X on Thrall, Dark Chimera on Rhaegar, and Talking Trees on Tyrande. A full melee composition here. It's basically the setup that we've seen from Cloud9 on map number 1. Not quite the same heroes, but very reminiscent, of course, of this one. A double support here with 3 melee characters. To the right side, Cloud9 with Dunk Train on Uther. We have K1 Pro on Falstad, iDream on Greymane, Caffeine on Murden, and Arthalon on Sylvanas. And this is actually like a pretty fun setup for a couple of reasons. We're going to talk about it in a moment. First of all, we have a big commitment in the mid lane, though, by both teams, trying to go for a couple of kills here. Already Collusion with an interesting talent on level 1 goes straight for the cooldown reduction here on his Druin's Might and tries to use that with Lightning Bond now taken by Rhaegar. And of course, in the case of Tyrande, we're having in this moment also the Ranger's Mark. So these talents are actually like very interesting, especially since they cater to the map specifically. If you're looking at Rhaegar with the Lightning Bond and also at Tyrande with the Ranger's Mark, this is really one of those things that is determined to just like take down the Immortal as fast as you possibly can. Having a double Lightning Shield when you go for it and the extra damage from Tyrande is going to be huge to burst these Immortals away. So they are really trying to cater towards the map already. We're looking on the other side, on the other hand. Arthalon with the Sylvanas here has a very strong hero for this map. First of all, with the Barb Joven level 7, he can really put a lot of pressure onto the Immortals as well. Be it for the capturing the Immortal, for gaining the objective, or defense against an opponent's Immortal. And if they get the Immortal, well, first of all, you need to live for that. But yeah, if they get the Immortal, then they can also make sure that the Immortal gets a lot more value for them, thanks to Sylvanas disabling all of the structures. So these characters are going to play a huge role in this game now in particular, and are very, very important to the map itself. The kill in the early game here, on the other hand, of course, in like right now for at least Gust or Bust. And no matter who wins this map is not really qualified for the NA Regional Final just yet, no. We have to go through at least one more best-of-3 series before that happens, but both of the teams want to at least secure themselves the chance to already qualify for the first regional final here for DreamHack. And for now, we're having the Immortal on the map. That's the first objective that we have in the game, and a slightly inexperience already as the fight starts in the mid lane. iDream, on the other hand, is being followed. Oh, that Wolf barely missed him, and iDream escapes. They get the counter kill against Talking Trees. Gust or Bust, they went a little bit too deep for this one. And I mean, it's quite understandable. If they get the kill against Greymane here, that would be fantastic for them. But as is now, they are losing one of their heroes, and it's a 5 versus 4 in favor of Cloud9. Sonya and Thrall, of course, great heroes if you are trying to take down the opponent's Immortal. But in this case, we have also Greymane in the match, and that means that he can get a lot of pressure against the Immortal here. Wow, Thrall also dying, and that is not really a good start into the game for them. I mean, it started out with an early kill, but now they lost 2 heroes, and they're also about to lose the battle for the Immortal here, and that's really not what they wanted. We already see Equinox at the top lane trying to secure a little bit of experience, and K1 Pro finds himself in trouble and is actually dead. A bit uncharacteristic for him to die this early in the game here, but that gank was a bit too much for him to handle. Now all of a sudden, we're having another chance for Gust or Bust to secure themselves the first Immortal. Searing Arrows taken on level 4 for Tyrande. She goes into more of a damage build here, since we are running a double support on the side of Gust or Bust. And she tries to be that one range damage dealer that they have. But now we're seeing a bit of a defense happening to the right side with Frozen X and Dark Chimera. They're attempting to make sure that their Immortal is not going to be bursted down, but K1 Pro is already on it. Arthalon comes in as well. Caffeine is there. They're going for Thrall. They're trying to. The poke is happening with the Gathering Storm. And Uther, by the way, going not only into block, but we're seeing him also with the Hammer of the Lightbringer. So a lot of sustain for him in the game as is. Nice, the kill against Sonya, and Dunk Train is still ready to participate. The Immortal is also about to be taken down. Good job on the side of Cloud9. But it's definitely an interesting talent that we're currently seeing here. Hammer of the Lightbringer is not something that you see every day. So right now, mana sustain during fights also for Uther, and that's really going to help him. Uther, if he doesn't go into his level 1 talent Conjurer's Pursuit, oftentimes has a bit of a mana problem in the later stages, but block is so damn good in this new patch, it's absolutely crazy. 75% damage reduction from basic attacks, and that's fantastic if you're up against a Sonya, against the Thrall, and of course also the Tyrael. Talking Thrall, he's in trouble. Whoa! That is a pretty tame War Chief right there. And he's taken down now for the 3rd time, I want to say, or at least for the second time. 4 kills against 2. 6 levels versus 5. That's what we have on the board right now. Greymane and a bit of pressure at the bot lane, but look how Sylvanas is all of a sudden turning the tides of the battle here. With her just being in a position where she can simply disable a fort, this first immortal is going to get massive, massive value for Cloud9. And they're not really stopping there. They're not only going for the fort. Greymane, as I said, has trouble at the bot lane and is taken out. But with only 2 heroes defending at the top, guess what's going to happen here? They're going to lose the entire wall. Gust or Bust with some huge miscalculations here. They really did not account for how much Sylvanas is going to help the first immortal out to get damage in. I mean, this could mean keep, and we are only 5 minutes into the game, boys. Oh, there comes the kill against Falstad, and somehow Frozen X is able to escape. But look at that keep! The keep is about to fall, and that's the first immortal in the game. Normally, the immortal doesn't even get a fort. They just got keep with it. They lost 2-3 heroes. You know what? They're not going to give one rat's ass about that. Not, like, they're not caring at all. They just killed the keep. They lost a couple of heroes, and they're saying, like, so what? Hashtag worth it right there. Level 7 versus level 8, we're still a level ahead. We have taken a keep down. Our opponent is going to be pressured the entire time. And this is just absolutely brutal. Gust or Bust with a huge, huge miscalculation there. And that is one of those moments that can definitely cost you a game in the end. Right now, we're having level 7 talents for both of the teams. We're seeing Barb Shot, as already predicted earlier. It's super important when it comes to the next Immortals. We're having Lost Soul now also taken as the level 4 talent, so no Withering Barrage. At the same time, when we look at Flow Rider here as a level 4 talent, it might be Ari Gust again as a level 16 talent. The synergy between the two of them is pretty strong. K1 Pro loves to play that build. And I mean, him already going into Flow Rider here is of course something that allows him to spam out his Hammerang a lot more often during these fights. Battle momentum for Tyrael. And they are starting to jump in down here. Talking battle momentum on Tyrael, it's not the only one who went into battle momentum. We have the same talent also for Muradin again, played by Caffeine, and we are seeing it for Tawanda with all of that damage output that they want to go for. Very likely that we once again see her going straight for the Starfall here, and if she does that, well, actually thinking about it, we could also see again a bit of a Bloodlust combination here if Tyrande goes into the Shadowstalk instead. So there's a couple of ways how you could play that. If you are more opting for that stationary fight around the Immortal, then Starfall might be the better choice. But there's definitely a couple of ways of how Gust or Bust could play this right now. Again, the pressure play, and right now level 10 is ready, and that means that we're already seeing Wailing Arrow this time, no mind control for Sylvanas. We're having also Go for the Throat, the Mighty Gust still, and Divine Shield. And Cloud9, I mean, they are definitely like completely rocking this. There's K1 Pro, could go for the Mighty Gust, doesn't use that yet. Could have actually done it. I'm a little bit surprised that he didn't try and secure that kill with the Mighty Gust. He flew in and was trying to go for collusion. I think they thought they could get it without using the heroic ability. I wanted to save it for the Immortal. And now they're starting to move in for exactly that. There's still no level 10 ready for Gust or Bust, and that's of course the worst case scenario. And we are going to see Sylvanas head over to the right side to put the pressure on in just a moment. Already she's on the job together with iDream, and that damage output, as you can see, is pretty gigantic. iDream and Arthalon together will be able to take this down easy peasy, as the rest of the team is trying to get the kill against Sonya up at the top. There's K1 Pro, and he should be able to secure this one. Well, it's going to be a little bit closer maybe. But yeah, Sonya might get away. The Immortal, on the other hand, can't neither run nor hide, and that's a problem. Talking Trees is also in trouble, and he is down. There's the Starfall, Ancestral Healing, Sanctification, Wrath of the Berserker, and Sundering. Sundering could still be used, and there it is. Maybe the kill against Dunk Chain, not quite. Dark Chimera has to run, and has to run fast. The kill against Greymane at least, but Thrall pays with his Life Voice Insolence. Down goes Equinox as well, or does he? Might be able to escape here after he just killed Sonya off, and Equinox jumps in again against K1 Pro, gets the kill, moves for Dunk Train, takes him down too. Yep, Sonya is just a little bit too strong for this. So Sonya starting to jump in again. Immortals, of course, still on the map and being attacked. Yeah, and even with that, Sylvanas not able to secure the Immortal here. They were trying to go for the kills instead, and that backfired a little bit. Right now, it's going to be the first Immortal on the opponent's side, and they desperately need it. I mean, Gust or Bust, they need an Immortal, and they need it now. It's like Madonna, like crying, where have all the Immortals gone? Because, well, all of the Immortals so far have actually gone to the opponent, and that didn't really help them at all. Like, remind you of that keep that has fallen. The fort at the bot lane is eliminated. Not a single structure has been taken down by Gust or Bust, and they definitely need to make sure that that's going to happen soon, because they really need to win this if they want to advance and qualify for the North America Regional Final, and that is a bit of a problem for them. But in terms of experience, they're at least looking at a solid situation right now. They have 10 kills against 6, and that helps. Caffeine wants to go away, needs to dodge the stun circle, and does that, but the Starfall is in play as we speak. As we have a full commitment with 5 heroes at the top lane from both teams. We're of course going to see Sylvanas trying to do her thing against the Immortal. Nice Divine Shield and a turnaround kill against Tyrael. I Dream gets shielded by by Dunk Train and immediately jumps around and gets the kill. Very nice coordination actually from them. It was a really dangerous situation there. If Greymane goes down, then they might lose that fort at the top and maybe more than that, and lose a little bit track on their opponents. But in this case, Dunk Train calling the shield, and Greymane of course knowing immediately that he has a chance to move, just like turn around and get a kill. And with Tyrael being this far in, that was exactly what they needed. So they get the kill against Tyrael. They are able to just like turn the game around, or well, not the game, but like the fight at least. And now they are once again in a slightly inexperience, but it's really the pressure on the map itself that's the biggest problem for Gust or Bust now, and the biggest assets, of course, on the side of Cloud9. Level 13 talents for both of the teams. Again, we are seeing on 13 the static shield taken. We have Shrink Ray, plus also on the Prowl. And we haven't really talked too much about Greymane yet. Insatiable has been taken, and Wolfheart, so it's a bit of a different build, and it's one of those auto attack builds that we are seeing for Greymane, and not really that cocktail build, but one of the talents that usually still get is the Incendiary Elixir. That talent is just so incredibly important if you really want to get some value out of Greymane as is. Very few Greymane players, even if they go for a Worgen focused build, will drop this talent. It's just too damn good. It's insane. So right now we're having as a level 13 talent, Spell Shield taken. We have an Imposing Will. We are seeing at the same time now also the Overflowing Light for Tyrande, and we have the Tidal Waves for the cooldown reduction. Also, by the way, on level 13, a talent that has become a little bit more popular now, the Will of the Forsaken, chosen by Sylvanas here. And that little panic button that you have that turns you unstoppable for 3 seconds is actually absolutely fantastic if you're trying to get out of a bad situation. So if you really feel like you need to escape at some point, this is really the talent to go for, especially if a Thrall or the Sonya are trying to jump you. If, for example, the Sundering comes in, then you always have an opportunity with that talent to just, like, get away. Equinox gets healed just in time, and once more we have the Starfall in, but K1 Pro has a problem. It's called Thrall, and he's attempting to escape. Oh my god, 25 hit points on the side of K1 Pro's false stat, but Dunk Train down here. His hit points, they drop to 0, and Arthelon is already on the run away as well. Gets healed by the Ghost, but you can really see the problem that we're having for Cloud9 right now. They started off with a bang, but oh my god, that silence arrow! That was beautiful, that was sexy. Arthelon, they take down Tyrande. It's a 4 versus 4 once again, but I Dream is down to 450 hit points. Tries to escape. Dark Chimera jumps in, takes him down. Tyrande and Tyrael are both dead on the other hand, so it's a 3 versus 3. Well, at least it was, until a false stat got plucked. The bird is dead, and now we have Dark Chimera moving in again. But Arthelon is still in play, and yeah. Mistakes were made. Like, I'm not quite sure what exactly happened there, but he was very optimistic that he could take those 3 down. That didn't really work out as intended. So now we have still a fight over the Immortal, and so far, actually, the blue team is doing pretty well here. Gust or Bust is already dropping the Immortal to 50% HP, but if Equinox dies, then it might be the turnaround that they're waiting for, and the big bad wolf is already back to business. Greymane is making his way into the middle of the map again, but it's a 5 versus 4 still. And are they going to go for the burst against the Immortal? They actually move away first, trying to well up here maybe. We have the cooldown ready for Mighty Gust, and there it is, buying a little bit of time. That is a race that I don't really think that they can win, but it's going to be close. Actually, I'll give it a Barbed Shot. They might be able to win it. Barbed Shot is there, and they get it! Unbelievable. They burst it down faster. Sylvanas moving in, getting the Barbed Shot is helping them, and she's already down to the bot lane, where they're going to attempt to use that talent once more to make sure that they get much, much value out of that Immortal. And well, talking about value, overall, when we look at experience, we have level 15 versus 15, but the level 16 talent is so close on the side of Gust or Bust. If they get that, it would be great. Yeah, Sonya at the top lane should probably move back and help out with the defense here. Even if she gets the fort at the top, it wouldn't really help them too much. The bot lane is going to be under a lot of pressure with Sylvanas now disabling the structures, and that's exactly what we're seeing here. Immortal, of course, didn't really have a whole lot of shields, but starts to move through all of the structures. There's the level 16 now with the Holy Ground being used as well, and the True Shot aura for Sylvanas. Once more, they're starting to jump in with the Starfall. iDream needs to move out of it, and does, but Dunk Train is in a bit of a pickle here. Needs to be careful. iDream very low still, but the Immortal is already on the keep itself, and this one is very low. Arthalon goes in for the disable, and they get it. Both of the keeps are down, but can they escape? That's the question. iDream is about to fall. He's super low. He's on 30 hit points. Gets eliminated by Rhaegar as he jumps in. Arthalon is also on the run right now. Gets still healed, but Equinox is on the heels of Falstad. Here comes the stun against Arthalon. Sylvanas once again in the lockdown, as it's the second kill for Team Gust. 16 kills against 9, but they have no keep available to them anymore, not one. Both of the teams on the 16 talent, and we're seeing Hammer Time for Falstad not going into the Airy Gust. Flow Rider into Hammer Time here, still looking at the cooldown reduction though, but not the earlier Tailwind activation. Benediction on level 16 taken with a Concentrated Blast, Stone Form and Cold Embrace, which of course still synergizes pretty well with the Lost Soul as the level 4 talent. But we have both of those keeps eliminated, and that's the big problem. Taking the fort down at the bot lane is one of the few things that they definitely could do here, but this is still quite a bit away from level 20, and right now there's so intense pressure on both lanes that if another Immortal is announced, and maybe even a camp taken at the same time, they will have to send someone back to deal with those. So they can't really go into a prolonged fight in the middle of the map. They need to really force short battles right now, because the only thing that Cloud9 is going to look for right now is to drag every battle out for as long as they possibly can, so that the lanes are getting pushed against the core and that they get incredible damage out there. When it comes to damage output, by the way, we're seeing now, thanks to the Barb Shot and everything else that Arthalon with his talent build brings to the table, 83,000 siege damage already on his part, and also 52,000 hero damage, with Falstad being a close second with 42,000. Well, maybe not that close, but that's what they need to get the kill here against Rhaegar. That was an important one. The melee setup that we're seeing for Gust or Bust is starting to struggle a little bit more. They have incredible power and pressure during those fights, but if they can keep their heroes alive, then that's not really a big problem for Cloud9. Double kill, Greymane is down, but so are Thrall and Rhaegar. The Orc brothers are dead, and now it's Immortal time once again. And as we said before, if you can drag these fights out, then the lanes are going to push, and if you look at the minimap, you can see that bot and top lane are already in exactly that situation. Arthalon is low, needs to move back. Caffeine is also jumping out, but with 2 heroes dead, that's not really a big problem, and the lanes are still being pressured. That forces Equinox already down to the bot lane, and that could really trigger another attack from Cloud9 any moment right now. They're waiting it out a bit because they are trying to wait for Greymane, and they also try to wait to make sure until that Sylvanas is back. But K1 Pro is already on the job, and with Sylvanas moving in, that Barbed Shot is going to be a huge problem for that Immortal, and they know that, of course. Here's also Talking Tree is a bit far out there with this Tyrande, needs to be very careful. Arthalon already able to get incredible damage in against the Immortal, as we can see here, and that's the halftime show right there, 50% on the hit points, as we have a 5 versus 5 soon again in the mid lane. Thrall is not there yet, but Greymane has already joined the rest of Cloud9. There's the defense of the Immortal to the right, but the lanes are again pressuring against the core, and there's catapults everywhere. And this is going to drop the shields on the core of Team Gust super soon. It's a tie. This is the 3rd game, but the kill against Sylvanas might change everything here. They're jumping in. Nice move by Tyrael also with a block here, using the Holy Ground. iDream had to get shielded. That means cooldown on the Divine Shield. Only Avatar and also the Silence Arrow with Sylvanas is still available, but the core is soon going to be attacked. The kill against Uther though. Wow, Gust 19 kills against 11. They get a 3rd one as Greymane dies and Caffeine is getting popped like a cherry. He still had Avatar available. He didn't even use it. Avatar was there. They didn't use it. The core, on the other hand, is now all of a sudden going to be attacked by the catapult here. Bot lane, the same picture, but we're seeing an attempt to also get a fort now by them. Nice Sanctification. Oh my god, that was good. Sanctification able to keep them on the spot for a little bit longer. K1 Pro with good play, nearly getting a kill, getting a double kill. Wait, what? K1 Pro with a double kill. Down goes Tyrael. Oh my god, Talking Trees is interrupted, and that's suddenly 4 heroes dead and the core being pressured in just a few by catapults everywhere, and that Immortal is of course still on half health. It was an interesting idea on the side of Gust or Bust to move in and make sure that they get at least the keep, but K1 Pro was able to get the double kill, and then they turned it into a quad kill. Now they have 100% shield immortal, and that doesn't even have to bother with the keep anymore since both of those are already down. So this is looking absolutely fantastic for Cloud9 to advance to the next series. They're not even waiting for the immortal anymore. They're already sending Arthalon down, trying to finish the job here. It's still another 15 seconds until Sonya is going to be back to business, and Frozen X is the only one who's currently trying to go for the defense. This is not really looking all too good. Guys, in this case, it looks very much like this is going to be a done deal. Cloud9, they are going to advance against Gust or Bust. Or are they? Immortal at the top lane is starting to move in, but we have everybody back to business right now. It's turning into a 5 versus 5 as we speak. Here comes the Immortal though, and the shields are already gone. A lot of the hit points on the core are also eliminated, and we're seeing them jumping in. This is going to be game, ladies and gentlemen. Well played by Gust or Bust, but it is Cloud9 with a victory here in game number 3, and they will advance to the next round of the North America Regional Qualifier. Congratulations and well played.